Okay, welcome to the breakfast program overview. We're going to talk about meal patterns, some market research that we had done here at the DOE, and program promotion. Starting off with meal patterns. This is a nice overview of the daily and weekly requirements. And as you can see, the only difference is going to be the weekly requirement for grain. Milk and fruit will stay the same for all grade groups, for both daily and weekly. Starting with milk, your daily requirements are 1 cup, grades K through 12, and the weekly requirements 5 cups for K through 12. You must offer a variety of milk, which means an option of low-fat 1% unflavored, fat-free skim unflavored, fat-free skim flavored, or lactate. For fruit and vegetables, a daily 1 cup offering is required for grades K through 12 and weekly requirements of 5 cups K through 12. Vegetables served at breakfast will credit towards the daily and weekly fruit requirements. For fruit options, you can have 100% fruit or vegetable juice, fresh whole fruit, dried fruit, which credits as half as much equals, so if you had a 1/4 cup serving dried fruit, it would count as half a cup. Or canned fruit in 100% juice, light syrup, or water. For starchy vegetables, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. If you want to offer a starchy vegetable and have it credit, you need to offer an additional 2 cups of vegetables from the other subgroups, so red, orange, dark green, etc. You can do this by adding salsa to a breakfast burrito, putting vegetables in an omelet. I've seen folks have carrots and celery available at breakfast. So all those things will help you credit those starchy vegetables if you want them to meet your meal pattern. For grains, again, this is where it gets a little tricky. Your daily requirements are always 1 ounce, no matter the grade group, but the weekly requirements change. So grades K through 5, you're going to want 7 ounces for the week. For grades 6 through 8, 8 ounces, and 9, 12, 9 ounces. So one easy way to do this for the higher grades is just to plan for 2 ounces a day, and that way you know you're going to meet your weekly minimum. For meat alternate, it's optional. It's not part of those required 3 components. It can credit towards your weekly grain, but in order for a meat alternate to credit, you need to serve it in addition to a grain. So you can do that with a breakfast sandwich where it has the English muffin with sausage and egg, or you could do sausage and pancakes. Again, those pancakes are your grain items, so sausage with the pancakes would help you credit the sausage to meet towards your grain requirement. For offer versus serve at breakfast, it is optional for all grade groups. You must offer 4 items from the 3 food components that are required at breakfast, which is milk, fruit, and grains. Larger items like bagels, some muffins, English muffins can count as 2 items depending on how much they weigh. You must, for offer versus serve, have at least 3 food items, one being half a cup fruit or vegetable to credit. So components versus items, what's the difference? So food component is one of the 3 food groups that makes a reimbursable breakfast, so milk, fruit, and grains, and then a food item is a specific food offered within a food component. So toast would be an item in the grain component. So here's some examples. So grains, again, 1 ounce of toast would be 1 item. For fruit, 1 cup of grapes would be 1 fruit. And for milk, 8 ounces of skim would be 1 item. So again, 1 item, 1 ounce grain equivalent. Here's an example of toast. 2 items would be 2 slices of toast or 2 ounces of grain equivalent. And then larger food items can also count as more than 1 item. For instance, a 2-ounce bagel can count as 2 food items. And then a 3-ounce bagel can count as 4 food items. And then you can also have combination foods. So for instance, this, I think it's a pancake and sausage stick can count as a 1 ounce grain, a 1 ounce meat alternate, making 2 food items. And again, remember, you're serving the meat alternate with a grain, so the meat alternate can credit. And then another example is a breakfast sandwich. So this is 2 ounces of grain, 2 ounces of meat alternate, making 4 food items. And then when we're talking about juice, it can only make up for 50% of the weekly offering, which is 5 cups. So you can offer a choice of a half a cup of fruit and a half a cup of 100% juice every day, and it will meet the 50% requirement throughout the week. So when you're counting items that might be more than one, might credit for more than one, like a breakfast pizza could have a 2-item count if it had cheese, meat alternate, and grain. A breakfast burrito could be 2 again, depending on the contents and the weight of the shell of the burrito. A breakfast sandwich could count for 2 because you've got the English muffin and then maybe a sausage and egg on the inside with your meat alternate. A single pancake would be 1. Cereal, 1 ounce cereal would be 1. Yogurt, 4 ounces would be 1. And then your fruit, also half a cup of fruit, 1, and then juice, half a cup, 1. So when you're at the POS system and you're looking for that reimbursable meal, and I know kids are coming by you super fast, but just always look for that half a cup of fruit or vegetable and look for at least 2 other items. So for offer versus serve, you must offer 1 cup of fruit total. A student may take half a cup of fruit and it will count as 1 item. So here's an example down bottom. You can offer a 1 ounce grain, half a cup of fruit could be grapes, another half a cup of fruit, which could be juice, and a cup of milk. And if a student takes the grain, the juice, and the milk, that's actually a creditable meal. So you're offering a full cup, but students are selecting to take a half a cup. And here's some other examples of 4 food items being offered and students being able to take 3. So option A, again, is 1 ounce grain, another type of grain, and or it could be 2 slices of toast, just 2 ounces of grain, period. 1 cup of fruit, always need that 1 cup offering, and then 1 cup of milk. Option B, 1 ounce grain, 1 ounce meat alternate, 1 cup of fruit and 1 cup of milk. And then option C, 1 ounce grain, half a cup of fruit, half of a cup of a different type of fruit, and 1 cup of milk. So students can take the 1 ounce grain, the 1 ounce grain, and the cup of fruit, rejecting the milk. That would be a reimbursable meal. Option B, they can take the meat alternate, reject the grain, but again, remember it was offered with a grain, so you're still good there. Taking that 1 cup of fruit and the 1 cup of milk, and then option C, it's the same as the one before, where they rejected 1 type of fruit and selected the half a cup of the other type of fruit that was offered. So here's some quick examples. So on this tray, or we should say offered for the day, is a half a cup of fruit, a half a cup of a different type of fruit, 1 cup of milk, a 1 ounce grain, or 1 ounce, and a 1 ounce meat alternate. So if a student took the milk and then the pancake stick, would it be reimbursable? No, because you're missing that fruit. If a student took the apple juice and the orange slices, half a cup each, and the milk, would it be reimbursable? Yes, because they're taking 3 different items, one being a full cup of fruit. And then here, the breakfast stick with the apple juice, would this be reimbursable? And it is yes, because you have that fruit option along with 2 different other items, the meat alternate and the pancake. And then here's another option that you could have offered for breakfast, a half a cup of fruit or apple juice, 1 cup of milk, and then a parfait with 1 ounce grain, half a cup of fruit, and 1 ounce. The other grain they're looking at is the yogurt, which is a meat alternate. So if a student just took the parfait, it would credit because again, you have that fruit offering and then 2 grains. So you have 3 items there all in one. And then here's another tray. You have 1 ounce grain. I know that looks like 2 pieces of bread, but it's really just one piece of bread cut in half. So it's 1 ounce of grain, half a cup of fruit, 1 cup of milk, 1 ounce of grain, and half a cup of applesauce. So if a student took just the toast, the cereal, and the milk, would it be reimbursable? The answer is no, because they're missing the fruit component. If a student just took the cereal, the milk, and the applesauce, it would be reimbursable. If a student took 1 slice of toast and 2 juices, it would also be reimbursable because they're getting that 1 cup. Here's another tray, half a cup of fruit, half a cup of juice, 1 cup of milk, a yogurt, which is 1 meat alternate and 1 grain, it looks like, and then a 2 ounce grain bagel. If a student just took the yogurt, the bagel, and the chocolate milk, it would not be reimbursable because, again, you're missing that fruit component. If a student just took the bagel and the apple juice, it would be reimbursable because that bagel counts for 2 items. And then if a student took the chocolate milk, the yogurt, and the half a cup of fruit, it would also be reimbursable. And then here they have a half a cup of fruit juice, 1 cup of milk, a 2 ounce grain, 2 ounce meat alternate, making 4 grains or 4 items, and then a half a cup of fruit in the banana. If a student just took the breakfast sandwich and the milk, would it be credible? No, because again, you're missing that fruit component. And if they just took the breakfast sandwich with the apple juice, it would be creditable because apple juice does count as your fruit component. A common misconception is that students have to take a milk, and that's not accurate. If a student took a banana, a milk, and an apple juice, would it be creditable? Yes, because they have 3 items, banana 1, apple juice 2, and then milk 3. And then if a student just took the breakfast sandwich, it would not, again, be creditable. Okay, and then some other non-creditable foods, cream cheese, bacon, any non-whole grain or enriched items, popcorn, potato chips, and condiments can't credit towards the meal pattern. And then meal signage, it's a requirement for you for both breakfast and lunch to have signage explaining what constitutes as a reimbursable meal, and it needs to say that students must have half a cup of fruit or vegetable on their tray. So make sure you have those hung up in your cafeteria. So statewide, breakfast participation is, unfortunately, it's about half that of the lunch program. In Maine, it hovers around 30% for elementary and middle schools and about 20% for high schools. This year, we at the DOE had some research conducted for us through Analytic Insight in areas and ways to increase breakfast participation. So for outreach, they interviewed 22 nutrition staff throughout the state. They did 92 intercept interviews in 6 locations throughout the state, and they did a direct mailing where they got 150 responses. So with that information from this outreach, they gave us some pretty good data, I guess. So this is a chart that they gave us on current participation in the breakfast program from the folks that they surveyed. And interestingly, 51% of students eat at home every day, compared to only 10% that eat at school every day. And then it also showed that around 40% never eat at school for breakfast. And then they asked parents about how much they knew about the program in their school. And about 59% didn't know that if their student arrived late for school, if they would still be allowed to eat breakfast. And then about 31% didn't know the cost of breakfast at their school. And then for food quality, it looks like a lot of folks agreed that school breakfast is actually pretty healthy, fresh, and convenient, but any area that's in red or orange is always area for improvement. So it might just be knowledge or getting information out to the parents on your program, letting them know when you serve, how much it does cost, and maybe what you do in your program. Parent perceptions of school breakfast, what they would like to see your school do better, maybe offer more fresh options. A lot of folks agreed with that. Add more variety to the menu. Send home a breakfast menu every month, and I'm sure you folks do that, but are you promoting your breakfast menu as much as your lunch menu? Maybe keep breakfast open longer after the first period, and allow the child to eat in the classroom. Again, provide more information, and very few people actually said open breakfast earlier, but still an option. So for marketing and advertising, again, I'd like to clarify, is your breakfast menu as readily available as your lunch menu? Are you sending reminders home throughout the year, clarifying your prices and serving times? Are you promoting the items that you serve? Are you creative with your breakfast? Do you use unique, names for items, wording on menus, or do you put signage throughout the school, or do breakfast themes? And then for staff perceptions, what nutrition programs can do better is to gain teacher and administration support and improve communication at the school level for promotion when it comes from staff. So if you have that champion teacher that all the kids really like, maybe it's a good thing to approach that teacher and ask if they want to stick around in the cafeteria for breakfast to see if they can get more kids to come down and eat. And then additional ways are to alter and add service delivery methods to reach more students. So those additional delivery methods are breakfast in the classroom, breakfast after the bell, grab and go, and universal breakfast. So breakfast in the classroom, I just broke it down in some pros and cons. It works best with elementary kids. It allows for the morning start where everyone's in the classroom, so you're not really rallying them up after they're eating. They're in the classroom first thing. Teachers can take the opportunity to make announcements or take attendance, collect homework. It could also be a good jumping off point into the curriculum for the day. Some cons is that, teachers will need to be trained. Some creativity might be needed in order to serve less messy foods. So one example would be maybe serving applesauce instead of maple syrup. And then you might have to talk to custodians to get support for, added trash collection. And then breakfast after the bell. So you can serve breakfast right up until lunch. So just having a breakfast window open, maybe you've stopped serving those hot items, but a student can still come down and get a cereal and some fruit and milk. That would work fine. You don't have to close down shop, after an hour. And you don't have to call it breakfast. You can also call it snack. So if a student wants to come down for a snack, they can grab what you would consider a reimbursable breakfast and go back to the classroom. Breakfast after the bell is mainly suited for high schools. It's helpful for anybody that's trickling in late or not hungry first thing in the morning. And then there's grab and go. This is good for any age. It's quick and convenient. It's generally not eaten in the cafeteria, but certainly can be. It's fairly simple to prepare, but your packaging might be pricey. A lot of people just brown bag it, but that might not be appetizing to some kids too. So you might have to get creative there, but it must include 1 cup of fruit. So you need all your components in there. And then there's universal breakfast. And that is when breakfast is served at no cost to all students, regardless of their eligibility for free or reduced meals. The benefits is that it just reduces the stigma associated with eating breakfast. If mostly your free kids are eating, then maybe just opening it up to everybody, there's no stigma there. Some challenges may be, it may not be financially viable for your school or district, and especially if the school has low enrollment of free and reduced applications. But another recommendation is that universal breakfast, if you are going to roll it out, then it should also be rolled out with an additional kind of delivery service model. So whether it's taking on breakfast after the bell or breakfast in the classroom. And then for feasibility, what's recommended is a school that has a high percentage in free and reduced applications or free and reduced eligible children, about 75% or above, generally are able to make up for any lost revenue from paid meals. The break-even point for each school is going to be a little different depending on the size and labor costs, et cetera. So definitely run the numbers before you think about rolling this out. And you could also do it for trial periods if you just wanted to roll it out for a couple months and see how it worked. That's definitely doable. So assessing your participation. For a traditional breakfast service, a good baseline for minimum participation is 1/4 of your total enrollment, or about 1/3 of your free and reduced students. So where are you now, and are you familiar with your numbers? Do you know your per meal cost? Do you know your participation? What's your competition around? Do you have Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts that's down the street? And what are kids bringing into your school that's from those fast food places? Is it anything that you could mimic on your menu? Do you do taste testing? So these are all things to kind of look at where you are and how you could potentially look at your competition and your numbers. And then your food quality. Are you serving mostly cold? Do you do any hot meals? Can you add more variety? Can you create theme days? How are you marketing your program currently? So these are all things that you can look at, maybe just making small changes. I would start with surveying students and seeing what they like to eat for breakfast. A lot of folks are rolling out breakfast bars, and you can get really creative. Some examples here are an oatmeal bar, so you can top it with fresh or dried fruit, frozen fruit, canned fruit. You can make your own granola. You can also get creative with syrups you could make your own strawberry syrup or blueberry syrup. You can have a yogurt parfait bar, a bagel bar, which really interests me personally. You could have tomatoes, cucumbers, cream cheese, hummus, nut butter, jam, anything. You can think of anything to throw on a bagel. It could even be a hot item like maybe a breakfast pizza and a bagel. And then equipment. Maybe you need some extra equipment. If you'd like to start a different type of serving style, like roll out breakfast in the classroom, and you realize that you need maybe a cart, or you'd like to maybe have a breakfast cart that's in the middle of the hallway to grab kids as they're walking through. There are grants available for equipment. Full Plates, Full Potential is an awesome place to look for grants for breakfast. They do rolling grant cycle, so you can apply at any time. Make sure that you're really creative in your application, because I think that's what they look for, is creativity. And then coming right up is National School Breakfast Week, and it's not too late to kind of get involved with that. It's March 6th through 10th. It's through the School Nutrition Association, and they're going to provide marketing resources, handouts, logos, merchandise, stakeholder presentations, and press releases. So something interesting was, according to a 2015 survey of SNA members, 96% of their student participation increased during National School Breakfast Week. So it's definitely something to get involved with if you're looking to increase your participation. All right, so now I'm going to see if anybody's typed in questions. Just bear with me. Oh, okay. So Katie Hoffman from the Maine Dairy Council chimed in, and she says that the Maine Dairy Council is going to be once again offering equipment grants this year to help support school breakfast programs. So make sure you log into the Maine Dairy Council, and you can get the email address from me if you would like. Just email me, and I can shoot you Katie's contact on where to fill out the application for the equipment. Are there any other questions? The next webinar is going to be Tuesday, February 27th. It's going to involve completing the annual order for DOD and NOI, so sign up for that if you're interested. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions after the call and you haven't chimed in. And I guess this concludes our webinar. Thank you.